Hey everybody, welcome to Locs Not. Come on, viewing from along today. If you guys want to see a Loctalk video, please stay tuned. All right, y'all. So this is a Loctalk video that I want to talk about, and I want to talk about if you should lock your hair while you're transitioning to natural. Now, let's see what my thoughts are for that. That's kind of hard because coming from where I did try to transition from, relaxed hair to locked hair. I would say if you are trying to go for the locked look, I would say that it wouldn't be a good idea, but it's really up to you. And if you do it, just know that it won't look like a lock because you will have the stringy ends. Okay, so eventually you're gonna have to cut your hair after a while. And if I was you or what have you, if you want to transition, like, keep the length, because a lot of people are into length. Okay, long hair, luxurious hair, long locks, whatever the case is. Like, everybody wants that long length. A lot of people, not saying everybody, some people, but most people want that long length. So a lot of people just always hold on, especially when you're transitioning natural hair, people just want to hold on to that length. But sometimes you're going to have to let it go because the ends are not really serving the purpose, and it's not making the lock look like a lock's supposed to look like. You know what I mean? So I would say it's okay to transition, while you're transitioning to natural, but just know that it's not going to look like, a lock, because it's, you're transitioning, you're not fully natural. So it's not going to look fully natural or look like the look that you want. So instead of going through all that, like, oh my goodness, it doesn't look like that, I would suggest that you cut your hair. That's my recommendation and that's my suggestion. And not saying that, you have to or you should, but if I was in your shoes, even though I did a transition into natural, with the stringy ends and stuff like that, while I was loose natural, eventually I did do the big chop. So even though you do that with your locks, you're gonna have to cut them at some point in time, unless your hair grows at a fast rate and it just goes away on its own, or once you get the length that you want, then you want to cut them. It's really up to you. But with me, I think it will look funny. It's like having the stringy ends, and it's like it's thick up here, and the stringy ends, it's like, what is that? You might as well cut it. So I will, eventually down the line cut it, but I would not have went down that route. But I think that's a good, Loctalk to talk about. But and just my suggestion, not telling what to do, but like if you don't want to be frustrating, you're like, oh my goodness, like whatever, I would say, and some people think that they gotta cut off all their hair to start their locks too. That's another thing. No, you don't. If your hair is like me, I didn't do another BC. I started with the natural hair that I had, the length that I had, and started my locks with coils. So you don't have to cut your locks unless your hair is not healthy, or is, you need a huge trim and you wasn't taking care of it the way you needed to, then that's another story. But if your hair is healthy and stuff like that, and you're not going for the itty bitty stages of locks or whatever the case is, then start where your hair is at. Okay, I've seen people start their hair like when their hair was like down to here. Okay, you do not have to cut your locks in order to start them. Okay, and transitioning, I would say if you want to do it, just do it, but just know at some point you're going to have to cut them stringy ends. Just know at some point. That's just like with the loose natural hair. At some point, it's got to go because it ain't looking right. You know what I'm saying? That's why I cut my, my transitioning hair, because I'm like, bruh, that's not looking right. So yeah, let me know, like, what's your thoughts on that, like the transition in locks. or like, cutting your hair, and it's really, and at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's your decision on how you want to look, because you got to wear the hair. You see what I'm saying? You got to wear the hair. But if it was up to me, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be transitioning locks and I got stringy ends. That's not the look that I'm going for. Unless you want to do some extra stuff with it and, curl it at the end or something like that, and, have a new look, a different look, or whatever the case is. You just want to keep that length and you don't want to beat your hair to be that short. You know what I mean? That's another story. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to go through that. I would just probably wait until my hair got a certain length, probably wait another year or wait another 6 months. And then when it gets to a length I want, or, there's other options and alternatives that you can do, that you could look into. So just do your research. And that's why I always tell people to do their research anyway, just to make sure. YouTube University, asking a loctician and a hairstylist, stuff like that, because I'm not a hairstylist, but I'm just giving, some tips on my experience and things of that sort. So yeah, so that's just basically about that. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. That's the Loc Talk for today. I wanted to talk about that because that's an interesting topic and an interesting conversation that, you can have. So yeah, so what do y'all think? Would y'all do that if you was in that predicament, or whatever the case is? Did you guys start off with little itty bitty locks? I didn't. I started off with the length I had. And like I said before, you don't have to cut your hair unless there's something wrong with your hair, unless you want to, whatever the case is, So that's basically about that. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this Loc Talk conversation. I will be having more Loc Talks, and if you have any Loc Talk, if you want to know my opinion on certain lock conversations, please let me know, and I definitely will try to get to it. Okay. All right. So if you guys have any questions, comments, that's what it is. Peace. Bye.